On the go? Download the free andrewhogue.com iPhone and Android app, so we'll never be apart.
Jerry, how you doing?
Hey, Andrew.
You all good?
I'm good, man.
I heard you kicking...
Watching my cat play with a piece of cigarette.
What was that? Your cat's playing with a cigarette?
No, Nicorette.
Oh, Nicorette.
Yeah, I'm not that cool. I don't even smoke anymore. Yeah, I just chew nicotine gum.
That's all right. Okay, you ready to continue talking the rock and the riffs?
Let's do it.
This is andrewhogue.com, still Australia's only 24/7 rock metal radio station, and it is a pleasure to again get a chance to chat with the great Jerry Cantrell. We've met many times over the years. Of course, I've also had the privilege of seeing the great man perform live, as he does his best at delivering some awesome riffs over the history of music, and he's back with a brand new record. It's been, close to 20 years since we had a solo effort from Jerry, so let's get him on the line now to talk to him all about the new album, Brighton, out on the 29th of this month. Welcome, Jerry.
Thanks for having me, man. How are you?
I'm good. It's, again, a pleasure to reconnect with you, and also, again, just another privilege to get some more music from you. I've been a long-time fan, and not just, of course, the Alice in Chains stuff, but of your solo work. And when I just couldn't believe it. It's been close to 20 years since we had a Jerry Cantrell solo effort from Degradation Trip Volumes 1 and 2. So I guess off the bat, when did you feel that the time was right for you to decide, you know what, I'm just going to go solo for a while and unleash Brighton? Has some of these ideas been kicking around for a while that's come off this album?
Yeah, well, I spent most of that time, making some pretty cool records with Alice in Chains and doing a lot of tours and welcoming a new member my focus has always been kind of primarily the band and I've luckily had some time to be able to do some work outside the band as well. Generally, we like to take a little time off after a touring cycle, and so at the end of the Rain, Air, Fog tour that we were on with Korn, I started kind of thinking about, maybe the possibility of making a new record, and, started talking to Tyler Bates and my longtime friend Paul Fig and engineer. And so we started going through ideas and coming up with stuff and digging through the files of riffs and ideas and stuff. And, I always have a pretty healthy grip of ideas around from years back and just kind of collecting ideas when they come up. And we jumped into the process, and it was started to feel pretty good and was pretty productive, and got in the studio in March of 20 and finished last March. So came out with a pretty good record. Really proud of Brighton, and it's some good songs. It's a complete album, and I get to play with some amazing musicians.
Well, listening to the album, it is, I mean, to me, this is the hardest thing. You have your trademark sound. So when I hear you with Alice in Chains, I know it's you. I hear you when you do your solo stuff, it's you. But to me, there's also kind of a separation between, the sounds that you can hear on your solo music to Alice in Chains as well. I mean, how do you feel when you look back knowing that there is a trademark sound that is pretty much you? I mean, did you ever feel like, wow, I actually have my own vibe now? Because when we look at music today, it's a hybrid of one or two influences, and people kind of get lost in that emulation. Whereas, 34 years in the game now, that Jerry Cantrell sounds like Jerry Cantrell.
Well, that's a good thing. I think that that's the goal and the search is to find yourself, to become yourself, and you do that inside the group of I had a really great group that I've been in, in Alice, and we started this band with my friends, and you're hoping to find that identifiable fingerprint. When you hear a Van Halen song, you know it in one note. When you hear AC/DC, you know it in one note. Led Zeppelin, same thing, go down the line. But it's something that I'm glad that we found pretty early, and we had some success early too. That helps. That a lot of people connected to it, and so you can count on that being there. And the cool thing about working with a bunch of other musicians that you maybe haven't played with before is everybody's going to bring their thing to it. So it's going to be a new fresh thing. It's going to be it's a different period of time. It's a different collection of songs, and so that provides the difference. And hopefully the thing that is the same is the way that you go about it, and the sound that you bring to it, and maybe a style that you've developed.
Well, when you look back on your solo works, first and foremost, I mean, does it take you back to a certain time in your life? I mean, what have you learnt about yourself through all these years of, writing music? This is more the Jerry stuff before the Alice in Chains stuff. We can get to that. But what sort of, when you go back and you listen to Boggy Depot, I mean, does it take you back to a time when you learn about how much you've changed as a person through this way of expressing yourself? What are some of the lessons that have come up?
Yeah, well, I think that's a really good way of putting it. Records are kind of a snapshot, a time capsule, if you will, of the life of an artist or a group of artists, and of an era. And I think that if you look at an artist's career over a number of years and in decades, you can get some reflections of a life, and as life is a very varied thing, and there are many chapters and stories, and there's a lot of triumphs and a lot of tragedies, and a lot of hard work, some luck, and each one of those records, is where I was at the time, and who I was with.
What do you think's been the key to your success by remaining, staying the course throughout all these years? Because, as you said, triumphs and tragedies is enough to sort of turn people off from staying the course and just giving up. What's kept you going?
Well, it's like, I think if there's any one thing, trust in yourself. Trust in yourself. If you believe something or want to get somewhere, no matter the resistance. And when it comes to music, you have to please yourself before you please anybody else. That's got to be a secondary concern. You can take care of that secondary concern by pleasing yourself, because you're a fan of music too. And so if you can touch the fan in yourself and bring out emotion from that fan inside you, then you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right, and you can trust that that's going to be there. And that purpose and drive is kind of remained, and it's still here. And so I'm lucky enough to be able to serve up another batch of tunes and throw it out there in the world and see what happens.
Well, let's talk about the state of music today. I mean, the industry is just completely not what it once was. I mean, it just keeps evolving, and to a degree, it's almost, it's hard to say it's gone forward or backwards. It's kind of gone all over the place. It's almost like the wild, wild west. Bands have got so many more options to try things now, which is exciting because there's less gatekeepers. But at the same time, I mean, just as your view as a musician, do you think people value music now than they did, say, 20 years ago?
I don't really think that the desire for music or the love for music has diminished. I think statistically, I've even looked at some stuff like that, like with the prominence of the internet and all of that. The demand, I think, is higher than it's ever been because it's easy to get and it gets everywhere. But since I started, I'm a fan of music and artists. So I'm aware of like what the record company was way back, way back in the 50s and the 60s, and it's always changing. It's a dynamic industry, and you by nature you need to be very adaptable, like on the fly and course correct at a moment's notice. And so while things are far different now, this is just the latest change, and you figure out how to navigate that by just kind of going your gut, following, putting one foot in front of the other, and following what feels right inside yourself. I think as long as you do that, it doesn't matter what changes come, you can deal with it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about switching hats for a minute, because I'm just curious again. I know you took some time off away from Alice in Chains and then start working on the Brighton album. So when do you feel the time for you to sort of put that Alice in Chains cap back on and start working on new music? Do you kind of keep it separate from what you do when you're just kicking back writing Jerry Cantrell music? Is there a separation there between the two?
We'll let you know when we're going to do something again. We were going to take some time off anyway, and then the world decided maybe we needed more than a year off, as well as everybody else.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to it eventually, I'm sure. Right now, I'm focused on this record, and it's a good piece of work. It was a lot of months and a year now, over a year now of hard work to get it to where it is now, and there's still some more work to do. We've got a lot of fun things coming. We've got more songs to release. The record comes out on the 29th. We have shows booked from March to May next year in the States and U.S. and hopefully ex-U.S., maybe U.K. and Europe next summer, and I'm sure at some point Alice will figure out what we're going to do too.
Well, speaking of touring, and like I said before, the world kind of has been turned on its head the last close to 2 years now. It's crazy what we're all sort of enduring, even where I'm sitting right now, Melbourne, which was normally called the most livable city, is now been called the most locked down city in the world. It's quite ridiculous. But what's your view on getting back out there in a post-COVID world? Are you concerned about it? Are you sort of, what are the changes you think you might encounter? Or is it just going to be, 6 months from now, be business as usual? Where do you see it?
Well, I don't think it'll ever be business as usual. It's definitely in the biome now. So it's something that we're going to have to live with. I think that we're learning how to deal with it, and I think that there's some good medicine out there for it, and some precautions that you can take. Just washing your hands, keeping your distance, and keeping a mask on when you can, or if you're going to be around each other that way.